It's like Pavlov's dog. When I enter the stage, I suppose, I can see you drooling already. When Stefan is entered the stage, then there will be something about communication, and of course it will be. First, I have to a comment on the VPS journey here. I like it a lot. I like your presentation, Gunnar and George. From now on, though, when I see a small parapluie like that or an umbrella like that, I'm thinking about Mallorca in sunset. But maybe that is a part of the VPS as well, huh? Also very happy to see that on the highest level there in the Menti was coaching, but also communication was on a high level. Mark talked about it today, this morning as well, some other experience from the NRV during the strike, that how important it is with constantly communication, and that is something that we need to have in our mind all the time. Of course, I will speak about communicative leadership, and usually we do it by the end of a TMM like this, because it's just for all of us to remember that we need to create, engage, and involve people. Otherwise, whatever we commit to here and whatever progress we have made, if we not communicate that properly, and keeping then or creating engagement and involvement around our journey, then nothing will happen. Then our strategic framework will only be a paper tiger in the drawer. Those of you who have done the communication for result, and hopefully most of you have done it, it's a training program, and it's a kind of a movement that we have in GTO for the time being, or since a couple of years ago. We have trained almost 3,000 leaders, managers, first-line managers, and so forth, and we keep counting. A part of that program, there is a part of that called how you bring things to life, meaning that in order to make sure that you are remembered for what you are saying, you need to catch up a little. You find some edge in what you are communicating, so we will remember what you have said. And you can use metaphors, you can use stories, you can use facts and all that. You can also use props. And my prop today is that bottle over there, Heinz ketchup bottle. And I will of course talk about something that many of us refers to, the ketchup effect. The ketchup effect, there's no scientific facts around it really. It's more based on my experience, and I would like to share that with you now. And how we can utilize the ketchup effect in our leadership and in communications to be even better communicative leaders. You know, the ketchup effect is very much a metaphor of that we know something is coming, but we don't know how much and we don't know when. So first nothing happens, then nothing happens, then nothing happens, and everything happens at once. And it's a kind of a conceptualization and a visualization of our expectations. But it also reminds me of what we have to do in order to make that happen. So we need to stay patient. We talked about patience as well during the VPS. I heard that, I like that. We need to stay patient. We need to stay steady. We need to stay active, and we need to stay committed. %80 or so of our financial book value derives from intangible assets. That is licenses, patents, goodwill, human capital. They take years to build up. We know for a fact that our top line growth can increase 4 times to 5 times higher, quicker, faster if we have engaged and involved people. They take years to build up as well. If you look at brand image, customer satisfaction, customer streams, the perception and the trust from analysts and financial community, as Krista talked about this morning, as well as the trust from the entire society. That take years to build up. But now then, when we have, in the midst of this digitalization and globalization, everything is about speed. And we promptly change systems, processes, product, organizational structure. But to change the mindset of our people, that takes a little bit longer than to change anything else. And that is just human. It's not that we need a sense of urgency here as well, and the need for speed is here as well. But from a human perspective, it will take a little bit longer to change that. That's pure mathematics. Coming back to the ketchup effect. First of all, as I said, in our communication, then, we need to stay patient. And if you know the marketeers, they utilize the diffusion curve. You know, we have the innovators, we have the early adapters, we have the early and late majority. And you know, the innovators, as we know them, is Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and whatever they're fast and quick. Then we have the early adapters. They are those guys that pay a premium. They can sacrifice a little bit of their time or whatever they have. Like the guys standing in the Star Wars cinema line a week before the cinema actually is opening, just to get the tickets. And then we have the early and late adapters. And we can if we can move the pendle in that direction towards the early adapters, having 25-30% of our people, then we will have a tip over. And then people suddenly, the entire people will change, the late majority will change. So we need to stay patient. It will take a little bit longer to change the mindset. That's pure mathematics. Stay steady or stay the course. We have a great course that we are working with it, and that is to create customer success through sustainable operations. Don't drift away from that. Stick to that one. And if you, of course, within that framework, add on your local needs and local adaptations, which is, of course, is all right. But we stick and stay to the same course. Don't drift away from that. Stand tall if that is questioned. That is very, very important in our communication. To stay active means that you need to communicate. As we saw in the VPS, as we saw what we did during the NRV strike and so forth, we need to be very, very active. Be it on an individual basis, team basis, big TMMs like this one, but we need to be active. We need to be out there. We need to be transparent, we need to be available, and we need to create platforms for dialogue. Otherwise, nothing will change. And then finally, stay committed. Meaning really, sometimes we drift away in our mindset as well. It's tough to deal with the strategic direction. We have all these things happening around us and all these near-term kind of activities that we need to address in order to mitigate supply constraints or whatever we have. But then take help of your fellow colleagues in the management committee or in your team or whatever it is, because we need to stay committed over a long period of time. That's the best way when we do communication in order to change the mindset, in order to make sure that our people will transfer the mindset from whatever we are to wherever we want to be. Engagement is the key word. And we have proven fact that engagement creates success. And Professor Sisionida from Columbia University, he studied the S&P Forbes top 500 list, and he looked at the 40 top companies in that list to see why are they successful, why are they bringing better shareholder value and better value to the customers. And he found out, when he looked at these companies, that they were value-driven, they had a clear strategic direction, and they were transparent with the operation and result. All of that consolidated, created engagement and involvement. And the way they created engagement and involvement was, of course, through communications. The management were available, they stood tall, they didn't shy away. They were transparent, of course, with what they communicated. Sometimes it was also allowed to say, I don't know, because sometimes they didn't do that. And of course, they were also build platforms for dialogue. And that is a good advice for us. And when you look at the result from the last pulse check, we should be very, very proud from a communication perspective. Because if you look at the engagement level that we have in DTO, it's on a high level. Could always be better, but it's still on a very high level. Bearing in mind all the troubles we have been through during the late 18 months. So from an engagement level, we do a great job.